Hey everybody, my name is Jay, and we're talking about Xianghua today. If you haven't watched my video titled I got every character in Soul Calibur 6 to S rank and this is how I did it, yet please do so as I'll be going through this character in the same format that I discussed topics in that video, and I'd rather not make the same disclaimers in each video I make. X was really in my wheelhouse just right from the start, and her aggressive style and strong frames made for a pretty easy S rank run. Eventually you can run into players that lean on her lack of range as a disadvantage, but this is definitely a character to try out if you like sticky pressure, good frames, lots of decision making, and one of the best characters in the game at ending rounds. Block punishes, at -10 you've got AA, -12 you've got 4B, -14 you've got K6, 16 you've got 6KA, and at -18, you've got 3B. So, X's block punishment is strong as hell. You've got your I-10 AA, which you could also hold for stance pressure if you like. 4B is your -12 punish. You can go 4BA or 4BB if you really want to. But AA is perfectly serviceable here again, in case you want to simplify the situation. For -14, you've got K6, which goes into a pretty nasty 6B dead trap that's difficult to get out of, and then 6KA for -16, which is fine, and then obviously 3B is for -18. The 3B combo is 3B into CE if it kills, 3B into 66B plus K for non-meter max damage, and 6KA for basically 90% of the time, basically any other type of situation. When you're playing a character with an I-10, it's perfectly fine to start punishing everything with AA, but you want to change that as soon as you can. Losing out on optimal punishes in common situations is a real killer for characters that are shorter range and don't do a lot of damage on single hits. If you ever get curious in a match if something is more punishable than you first thought, try out a punish that is 2 frames slower and go from there, just incrementally up. Now, when it comes to X's While Rising moves, X's While Rising game may honestly be one of the most versatile in the entire roster. While Rising K into B as a force block is your -12 punish if absolutely necessary. You've also got CE for this, and that's the more obvious answer, assuming that meter isn't a problem. While Rising B into 6B. Boy, it's really giving me a tough time here. There you go. If you have a little bit more time, While Rising B is going to be a better option there. And Full Crouch 3B for really punishing ducked grabs and highs. Full Crouch 3A is also an amazing low to do decent damage and go into a stance mix. And simply because it exists, simply because Full Crouch 3A exists, you can bait people into thinking that you're going into a low by staying crouched for a set amount of time, and then go into Full Crouch 3B. The fact that Full Crouch 3B is just a safe, solid launcher already makes it easy to just simply throw out there without much issue, but the fact that you can create a mix very similar to Yoshi with Full Crouch 3K, with a safe launcher as well, is just amazing. Lots of other X players I've seen use Full Crouch 3K rather than Full Crouch 3B, which kind of surprised me since it seems a lot riskier. I wasn't a fan of it, but, you know, to each their own. For Full Crouch 3B, I do the 668 plus B full string rather than canceling into a stance, then they plop right in front of you for a 1K or back into a launcher. This is old Zefukai tech. I was playing X quite a while back, which I also think Incendiate actually dislikes, so again, this is just a matter of opinion. You can find other combos here. As you're probably gathering already, X Oki is really, really strong. Tons of fantastic Oki positions the opponent simply has to be right about. You've got your 3Bs, you've got your Full Crouch 3Bs to force people to get up, you've got Full Crouch 3A to punish those very same people who get up on those hard knockdowns, and you've got grabs and safe hories like 4-4A hold for everything in between. For techable knockdowns, you're almost assuredly going to see people tech back, because who wouldn't against X? And for those, you often have 66B/66BB as a force block. If they try to tech up and sidestep, you got 66AB, which is perfectly serviceable. I wasn't a fan of continuing the string with the last hit, regardless of whether you're going with A or B, as it does have an additional level of vulnerabilities, and just taking the 2 hits and then going into stanceless X pressure seemed much better to me. No sense complicating a good situation for no reason. Now, when it comes to grabs, because of certain moves exist, hello 2-2-B, X gets somewhere between 1.5 to 1.6 trillion opportunities for grabs in each round. If you want to simply limit your moveset at the very beginning of your X adventure to 2-2-B or grab, it's perfectly reasonable to do so, and often you'll see top players do the same when the opponent is dead to a CE. The objective should be to see when the opponent starts to freeze up, because this is how X gets grab opportunities rather than grab range. Continue to mash your AAs, your 2-2-Bs, back up into a 3B, those kinds of opportunities if the opponent continues to mash and move around. Then find that fine line when you've hit the opponent enough to where they clam up. Don't forget, you have the best crouch grab in the game, too. If you find yourself forced crouch on a particular block, or when your opponent is in a spot like that, give crouch grab a try, and you'll be surprised how often it becomes an irritation for them. Think like Valdo when he goes into Mantis, or Mitsu after 1BB, Yoshi in certain stance transitions. The list goes on and on. It's definitely a fun thing to try and explore the creative ideas that you can use with such an incredible crouch grab. When it comes to the overall game plan, the challenge is getting in, which you do with 6-6-BB, you do with 6-6-AB, and just overall having good patience, step ducking around. The fun part is being sticky with infinite strings and standing resets, fantastic buttons. Your core objective should be to be annoying. You've got your I-10AA, you've got 6AA or 6A, and for heavy hits, you've got 2-2-B into 6KA, or 3B into the same. If you find yourself dealing with like hot potato type gameplay, I go and then you go and then I go and then you go, and you're just throwing mids around, check with 3A. It's a really fantastic option. X has a handful of stances, but this one is really the only one you need to focus on when you're starting out, and that's just holding 2 after 3A. The tech crouch on this stance, I mean, to call it reliable is an understatement, as it's hard to quantify just how many things this gets you away from. Arguably, the list of moves that hit this super tech crouch is smaller than the moves that it evades. From here, dealing with statue blocking people, you can use A, or you can use AA. The A hold will allow you to go into stance pressure again, and then for dealing with people who are ducking, you've got BB. Important to note, this string, the BB, can be hit confirmed, and the amount of damage you get out of the whole thing warrants practicing this, even at the beginning of your X adventure. There's plenty of other stance transitions you can do, like 6B2, or AA hold, or full crouch 3A hold. But I think starting out with these isn't really that important. The moves themselves and the non-stance string aspect to them is a solid way to branch out at the beginning to find more tools you may like and want to use against your opponent in the not-too-distant future. 6BB for a potential counter-hit hunting aspect versus 6BA to give you a low, Hori low. AAB, AAA, or just AA. It's completely fine, as it's just a matter of seeing how the opponent interacts with the string, and judging how often they want to mash after AA on hit. Full crouch 3A versus full crouch 3AB, I mean, it's similar in the sense that you can use it with the purpose of stopping mashing. X's ability to beat mashing is really strong, which allows her to control the pace of the match up close. And this is the idea of the whole character. Gauge when you have an opponent that wants to mash, or wants to move, wants to stay put blocking, or stay put crouching. After that, just double check your meter for using the best CE in the game as a round winner. If the opponent misjudges an unsafe move, a low, a high, a vertical, so many different ways that the CE ends the round, and you'll be good to go in no time. Hope you guys find that kind of strategy interesting. Do all the standard YouTube things of liking and subscribing if you like this, continuing on with the characters through the roster as time goes on, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Thanks very much.